I hung out with them. And now we're doing a broadcast of me, well, swinging in the city, having fun. Yeah, I'm getting the hang of this game. Yeah! Nice! Now, super swing! Alright, let's climb the wall, Spidey. Excellent. Woohoo! I'm Nathan's friend and I'm hanging out with him, but this game isn't 2 players, so... And I'm just swinging, trying to find liberty. Which I think that's at the end of the game, but I don't care. Alright.
Nearby units advised. Witnesses cold in a mugging. Response needed north of Houston.
Yeah-ha-ha! Look at me! Ow! Nice. There it is. Woohoo! Let's aim my spider web and go! I'd say liberty. I found liberty! Nice! Achievement get. Find liberty! Alright.
All units advised. A kidnapping has been reported.
Hey Jack, I'm finally dead in the game.
Nice!
I did 48 years.
Look at me! Woohoo! Hello? Civic Center.
Skyland is unite.
Seriously?
Yep, Skyland is unite.
Is that what you're watching?
No.
Alright. Let's try this out. It's Dino on.
You want to know this song?
Spiderman! Woohoo!
All units, report of a change in progress. Incident is active in Dutchtown. Over.
Hello? Hello? Did anyone join? Probably not. Time to swing around. What?
All units be advised. Commercial robbery in progress. Additional officers requested near Flatiron.
Finally, something good.
We reserve the right to refuse service and knock out any criminals. Says so right on the sign.
I used to have a toy like that when I was young. It was sort of like something a investigator or detective. And I wanted to be a detective.
Resting Fisk brought all the small-timers out of the
Democrats
woodwork.
were the ones on that station on MSNBC in the press were constantly
If I was a cop, I'd love it.
positive
A
decline
lot less
was
tax,
obvious
easy
because they
arrest.
were worried he would get the nomination and not be able to win the regular of the election. And he was lucky.
What the hell's going on? Because I don't. But something is. Most of this work is on Substack. He joins us tonight. I should say to our audience, we're not talking about this. I have no idea what your views are on this. I was talking about Greasy 2 hours ago. But just get on payroll. He's smart and he'll know what the hell's going on. Because I don't. But something is. What do you think is happening?
Well, first of all, on the question of Biden's capabilities, I think it's worth recalling that throughout 2019, leading Democrats were the ones on that station, on MSNBC, in the press, were constantly warning that Biden's cognitive decline was obvious because they were worried he would get the nomination and not be able to withstand the rigors of the election. And he was lucky that the pandemic happened and he was able to hide in his basement. So that has been a narrative that came from the Democratic Party, and obviously it's worsened over the last 2 years. But I actually think that one of the things that's going on here is obviously the corporate wing of the media, the liberal corporate wing, is liberal. They're attached to the Democratic Party, but with one exception, which is they really do believe constantly in militarism and war. Their closest relationships in the media are with the CIA, are with the Pentagon, are with the National...
I'm sorry, spider emergency.
Nathan, did you ask Dino if he can watch?
I can't find his channel.
Possible narcotics sale reported. Nearest unit, please respond. Reports are coming in from Little Tokyo.
I wish I could make a YouTube channel.
You already have one.
No, another one. Tiger and Pant.
Side Village, please copy.
Because remember we played with
My bad.
those Tiger and Panther toys? Remember?
Yeah. Can you watch my live stream?
No. It's just a
Please.
live stream.
Yeah, but no one's watching. See?
Maybe someone will come.
Probably not.
They may then just leave.
Why?
Because you're impatient. Do you have patience enough?
No. My spidey sense is picking up some bad guys.
Who wants a
Do you know how to punch her yet?
Yeah?
Say yo!
What's up, guys? It's me, Spider Boy. And also, I got a present.
Name yourself Spider-Ham.
I'm Spider-Ham, boys.
Say yo! See that? Use triangle and square to circle at the same time. Say ooh! Spider-Ham say ow. Spider-Ham's gonna die.
I'm out of
Before
here.
Dad said it was okay. We just have to ask Nick.
Okay. You have to ask your dad.
Well, not now.
No more money.
When will that be?
Well, happening.
Maybe if I...
Nick, you don't need to worry about it. It'll be
Maybe
between
if I
Daddy
go
and
to
Nick.
his house.
Huh? What? No, what did you say? Maybe before what?
Maybe like when if they say yes, me and Jack should pick up his, stuff to spend the night here.
Right. Like I said, it's not. Daddy will ask. It's not. We don't need to do it. I'm not. I don't mind if you
for war. They constantly want more war. And I think that they don't care about things like crises at the border or inflation or joblessness, none of which affects them. I do think, though, that they're deeply offended when they see America's greatness as they perceive it falling and failing. And these kinds of images are ones Americans are not accustomed to seeing, losing to what is essentially a primitive fighting force in the most humiliating manner possible. So I think that it offends their ideology, which believes in militarism, which constantly cheers for war. And I think they're being told by a lot of their sources in the military, in the CIA, who they revere the most and who did not want withdrawal. Remember, Tucker, when Trump tried to withdraw from Afghanistan, the CIA invented a lie that Russians had placed bounties on the heads of American soldiers and leaked it to the New York Times to prevent Trump from leaving. A lot
Watch
of
this. Woohoo!
Oh, it's cool.
Spider swinging.
Nathan, you should play that game. It looks fun. I mean, not now, but
Like later.
Greta, I don't want you up there.
This game is actually quite fun.
Yep. Looks like it was well made.
Apparently you played with Nathan in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah. I used to play video games with Nathan a lot. I'm sure I will again someday. Right, bud?
Maybe I can
play
teach.
Pokemon. We played Pokemon. We played every fighting game together. Yep, Tokyo Jungle.
Woohoo! Man! Time to take a breather. And do some karate action. Watch this, I'm gonna do some karate action.
Nice. Oh.
And to top it off, jump
I
kick.
like that game with the girl, crazy looking fighters. You know what I'm talking about?
I can web swing and when I release, I can attack.
Yeah. I like Skullbone.
Yep, that's a high-speed car chase, all right.
Washington doesn't want this withdrawal, and they didn't want it with Trump, they didn't want it with Biden, and I think a lot of the anger is coming from that.
So I was fervently in favor of withdrawing. I'm grateful that we did withdraw. I'm just offended by the incompetence
All right.
and humiliation of the company.
Spidey swing!
What you're saying is that we imagined CNN was controlled by the
Hold on.
DNC. In fact, it's controlled by the CIA.
I'm an AFK for a minute.
Exactly, and I mean, there's certainly, the two are kind of the same usually, right? I mean, over the past 5 years, there's been a merger between the Democratic Party and the CIA. If you look at polling, Democratic voters revere the CIA, revere the FBI. It's Republicans who are skeptical of the deep state. as a result of the Trump years. But I do think that's part of it. But I also think, and this is key, is that the Biden plan to withdraw from Afghanistan was founded and based in a lie from the beginning, which is he kept saying that the Afghan National Security Forces were strong enough to withstand the Taliban attack and would hold them off, and that it would be almost impossible for the Taliban to take over the whole country. Having been truthful.
Greta, come on. And you know what? I gave in to her. I gave her some canned food, right? And she didn't eat all of it, so I don't know what she's trying to get me to do now. You can't eat them. The seeds don't come up to the top when you give you. Oh, little murder time. Don't you got enough joy killing the mice?
The American people that once we withdrew the Taliban to take over, I think the reaction would have been a lot different.
Watch this! I'm about to fight some bad guys! Watch this!
Try and guess how I feel about folks.
Mega powers! Seriously,
Afraid as well by what they told him.
Fine then.
I completely agree with that.
I'll give you something.
He said the other day in an interview with ABC, it's ugly when you read it. I think most people, including me, I would buy that completely. It was a lie. It was so infuriating. It's interesting though. I mean, I've never, in this cover politics, as long as I've never.
Did you see me beat them up?
The first one, Jim.
Woohoo! That wasn't the first battle. I did quite a few. Greta, get down.
Yes, drink the water. It's not good for you. And the fish are good. It's not good.
Let's go, stupid truck. I want to explore.
Now the time is to give you what's good enough. What?
Man, you're not stupid. Just gotta. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Why are you being such a
I'm gonna check out these civilians. Hey, guys. Watch this. That is not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Yeah.
Like a cabinet secretary or a spokesman contradict the president on something meaningful like this repeatedly. What is that?
You know, I mean, look, all of this is speculative, right? We're not,
what?
We don't have access to
Watch this, I'm doing some combat! Take that!
If you look at Joe Biden, I don't believe anyone who says that they don't see clear signs of cognitive decline. I see the discomfort in the faces of Kamala Harris and Secretary Blinken when they're standing behind him. Everything that he says seems very fragile. It's almost like you can see the levers of his brain kind of slowing down and not really working well. And so half the time that he says stuff, it's left to the rest of the administration to go and clean up. I find it uncomfortable to watch the President of the United States speak. And of course his own aides feel the same way.
Yeah, I disagree with him, of course. But I feel sorry for him every time I see this. I'm just saying, I feel sorry for him every single time. Because it's awful to watch.
It's unreal. I appreciate you. That's how it feels to me, and his family knew. That's true. It's not speculation. That's true.
I don't know why this is allowed to happen. Glenn Greenwald, thank you very much.
Thanks, Doctor.
So the U.S. military spent billions training the Afghan army, and yet it collapsed just days after we left. The president seemed surprised by this, but the people who actually trained those soldiers were not surprised at all. The details are pretty stunning. By the way, you can go to tuckercarlson.com if you want to order a signed copy of the new book, The Long Slide. We hope you will. We'll be right back.
I'm going AFK for a minute.
So the United States government spent nearly $90 billion training the Afghan army, and yet that army collapsed almost immediately. How did that happen?
Watch me go!
Well, 2009 report, The Guardian,
watch this. I'm Spider.
Many Afghan soldiers were hot.
You should get this game if you're whoever's watching.
You don't have a helmet on.
Whoever's watching, you should get this. It's fine.
It's like having 26 kids that I have to watch after. It really is.
Ready for people on the road, stage. Ready to move at 8:30.
I think if they introduced drug testing to the Afghan army, we would lose probably 3/4 to maybe 80-85% of the army. It requires telling them almost 30 times
Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Come on, let's go!
So that video is deeply offensive to people in Washington who have to cover up the waste that they have perpetrated in our land over 20 years, but it's real.
I'm a boss.
American soldiers in many cases have to teach Afghan recruits how to read and write and operate basic equipment. According to NBC News, 90% of those who enlisted were illiterate. That's worse than the national rate of literacy. Talk to
Hey, record this! Hey! Drug trade's gotten more aggressive post-kiss. Gotta stop that out.
Your choice, okay? Gotcha.
Paragon found how ineffective our literacy training is.
Keep ducking
Today,
income
no.
tax like this.
I remember going to a graduation training class of Afghan soldiers, and they all spun their diplomas around because I didn't know which
Prepare!
None
I'm not
of
going
degrees after
easy.
graduation. Anyone who's been around Afghan national government soldiers knows that you have to do a mission before pay. They all get
So this went on for 20 years, and for some reason most people didn't know this. Michael Tracy's an independent journalist who writes the Judge that because he interviewed an Afghan veteran last month who called our entire presence in the country a big money funneling operation. He joins us tonight. Thanks so much for coming on, Michael Tracy. So it sounds like for those of us who are scratching our heads and asking, why did we keep doing something that wasn't working, maybe money is part of the answer?
Well, the veteran that I
Looks like I'm clear.
was a member of the
I gotta be more
command
careful.
that oversaw this supposed training equip mission. That was exactly his theory. He saw that these defense contracting behemoths, which took as proprietary information the data that was supposed to be provided to the American public as to the status of those trained equipped missions of the Afghan security forces, that data was essentially concealed from him as a military officer who was charged with following that process day to day. And so it was a systemic graft and corruption at the very heart
Drugs are
of the
maybe just
invention.
like
And
criminal
the
activity.
reason why I think,
Definitely
as
top
you
five.
to speculate
However,
earlier in the show, that we see such this strange
I
outburst
destroyed
of
that.
medication is because there are
They'll
so
react
many
to it.
people in the media, in the political class, and across the entire system of essentially American governmental process that benefited personally, financially, reputationally from what in essence was a failed intervention. And there are plenty of guys who are on the front lines who saw it firsthand who will attest to the reality of that failure, even if they're the generals and the national security advisors and the people who sit on corporate boards now and pontificate on TV, even if they had a very different interpretation. This was an epic, colossal failure, and frankly, it's incumbent on the entire bipartisan political class.
I got all these
Facilitated
suits,
this nightmare.
and then I
to
got
reflect and it's to fixate needlessly
some up here.
on the logistical details
Like that
of the
one.
withdrawal.
Or that one.
It's open to criticism just like anything the president does. But I think that shouldn't distract from a thoroughgoing self-criticism as to how we even got here in the first place over 20 years under presidents of both parties.
Wow.
I read yesterday
I look pretty
the
good.
total coverage on the
Pretty
Nightly
good.
News use of Afghanistan in the past 5 years is like essentially zero.
Spider power!
As the application of that cancer. Do you really hope that you will get a clear
Wanna see my new
accounting of
suit?
what we've been doing there for decades?
I'm a hero.
All the operatives
Yeah.
on TV these past few days who are posturing as though they're these pure-hearted
I can fight in midair.
who are so deeply concerned
Heidi, I
about
want to show you
African American
something.
girls. I'm sure they'll be leading the charge
Watch this.
for this
Come.
action
Hey,
report on
that's
how
not what I wanted.
American global hegemony suffers as well.
Maybe I need to get a little higher. Okay, watch this. I can fight in midair.
So much of the narrative in media, as regards to this withdrawal, is a total joke. And it's
I'm a hero. I can just swing through this. Nice. Why is traffic in this game so complicated? Yeah. No.
Thank you very much.
All right.
So what's interesting is that the people who are watching with the fight of women and girls, not just Afghanistan, but around the world, because they care about women, don't care at all about
All right. Let's go, truck.
an American Air Force veteran who was unarmed, not warned before she was shot in the neck on January 6th. He died, that's fine, let's applaud it. He wasn't a woman parent. But that's okay because there's an insurrection. There's a coordinated plot to overthrow democracy. We've been hearing that for months, 7 months. Now the FBI, out of nowhere, informs us that's not true. It was not an insurrection. It was not a coordinated plot. They said that today.
Okay.
I don't even want to talk about it because you're not making steps. You keep changing.
I look better in this.
You see, the people who are watching with the fight
Don't I look
of women
better
and
in
girls,
this?
not just Afghanistan, but around the world, because they care about women, don't care at all about Ashley Babbitt, an American Air Force veteran.
Y'all yeet. I'm getting pretty good at this game. Time to go explore and find some criminals.
Narcotic sales. Please proceed to Bowery.
That gives me an idea. Whatever I said in my mind. There.
Thank you very much. So
I've been playing this for almost.
people who are watching with the
I
fight
began
of
my
women
life
and girls,
like
not just
about
Afghanistan, but
30
around the world,
minutes
because
ago.
they care about women,
Woo!
don't care at all about
Nathan, where do you think I'd find some bad guys?
an American Air Force veteran who
Let's try going that way.
not warned before she was shot in the neck on January 6th. She died, that's fine, let's applaud it. She wasn't a woman parent. But that's okay because it was an insurrection. It was a coordinated plot to overthrow democracy. We've been hearing that for months, 7 months. Now the FBI out of nowhere informs us that's not true. It was not an insurrection. It was not a coordinated plot. They said that today. To tell you what they said, I'm going to tell you why they like to say that.
I'm getting so annoyed.
Woohoo! Bad guys!
To have friends over and do this every time. You find ignoring him for a half hour now. All you do is say, hey, I want to take a turn. Nathan's gonna take a turn playing Spiderman at 6:30.
Support your local businesses by not robbing them, please.
6:25.
Hi.
No, you have to let Nathan play in 5 minutes. gotta get the turn.
Oh, does he want to play this?
Yeah.
I'll have to show you how to play though.
I already know how to
He's played it before, hon. This is his game.
But he said he forgot how.
He just wants to play on his own. Okay?
And I died.
out, so you always want to really want to do this.
But I hardly ever get to play this game. I never even played it. Except for
Right, but
today.
you've been playing for a while now and it's gotta take turns. What did you just do? About what? You know what? Turn off the PlayStation altogether. All done.
I kind of need a break.
Well, that's lucky for you. Throwing a little fucking fit like that. How old are you? Seriously? 3? That's what a 3-year-old does. Yeah, I know. It was a rhetorical question. You don't even tell me how old you are. Fucking watch it. What is wrong with you right now? Because your rage is not very fun to be around.
All units, this vehicle pursuit in progress. Officers near Goleta,
That
please
doesn't
report.
how you do it. It's nice that you want to make up with somebody, but you don't just act like a jerk and then try to get them to shut up. All we were doing was talking about it. Me and him were. And you have to just sit there and listen, and immediately, before anything, you hear one little thing that says, well, I've never played this before, and that was enough for you to slam shit down and stomp away. And if you happen to notice, he was more than happy to give it to you. He wasn't being rude.
Go ahead.
And you guys hang on. End up
The
getting
name
this
of the
off.
law enforcement officer who shot and killed Ashley Babbitt. You don't know
Ignore
whether
each other
it's
until
capital
suddenly
case.
you don't want him playing anymore, and then get mad at me.
Where he left a loaded firearm in the men's room. We do know that Ashley Babbitt
Just once. Get that attitude in front of your father. I'd love to see it.
Sorry, don't.
Stop fighting with people. Let's think about that for a minute.
Sorry.
You're not, though. With friends, you gotta not act like friends. You gotta remind yourself that that person's your friend. You don't need to be, it doesn't need to be you against him. You be respectful and nice to each other without having to sacrifice anything. All you gotta do is be polite to each other. I fucking hate when you do this. Sorry. Okay. Stop doing that. If that's the only thing you have to say, don't say anything at all. Play your game, honey. You wanted to play. I'm sorry, but I just don't know what to do sometimes in this situation. Yeah, you're so angry. Guess what? You're not the only person. I don't understand why when I try to talk and figure something out why one of you always has to get pissed off and scream. When there's nothing to even be doing that about. I'm trying to talk with you both. I wasn't telling you too bad you can't play. I wasn't telling him, okay, you can play all night. That's not what I said. You gotta find some way to say how you feel without slamming shit every time. There's obviously some reason why you don't want to have a sleepover now. But it seems like you guys could just be getting along. Just be nice to each other. Hopefully. Because if you want to hang out with your friend and you're happy but they're not, do you really, does that feel happy? Not really. You want them to be happy too. Why isn't that controller charging? If you end up having the same temper as your dad, I will not be able to survive that. Not two people. I can just see it. You look like you want to just freak out. Get something. Please, don't be like that. What are you trying to do? Do you have something to say to me? If you're not, you're ignoring me, but you're staring at me. I don't know what to do. Oh, cool. Can you say what's on your mind?
Nothing's on my mind.
I know there is. You look seething. Like, seems like you're really
Sad and
angry.
mad. Sad and mad.
Sad and mad. I can understand that. Is there anything we can do to make it better? What?
Well, it's like you're just giving Jack more attention than me.
How?
I'm the one that has to get yelled at.
He didn't get mad about anything. I yell at him when he's mad. How am I paying attention to him more? If you mean I'm paying attention to him more, it's because he keeps asking me to look at something, and I'm trying not to be rude. I'm paying attention to it. I don't know what you want me to do about that. Just I guess I'm trying to be polite. And I do get mad and yell at him when he's sassy. So I don't just yell at you. I was talking to him about it first. I don't want to scream at him. I wanted to see if he was going to listen first.
I like these skins.
What one?
I like these. They look cool.
The black one? Or was that just...
I like this. And this looks cool.
Yep.
You unlock skins, that's awesome. My first... Yay. Hi. I look cool, right? Don't I look cool?
Yep.
I look like a big hero.
Yeah, when I look at your hair, it's on here.
Huh?
Your hair is... Look it. Right here. Look. A lady like me.
Yo. P1? Wait, are you playing Tokyo?
Attention unit. We got a report of a buggy.
Yep, I'm playing as this new skin.
Oh, can I see? Oh, that one?
Yep.
Oh.
Yo!
witches. Who knew?
Huh?
Unarmed and apparently not warned before she was shot to death on January 6th. But we have learned this. That officer will face no punishment.
I bet if I move this couch, there's about 5 lighters under it. I'm willing to bet.
I have to light it. I have to light it.
Well, I'm just saying, I go through lighters quite quickly.
I put them in the drawer if they stop working, but this one would stop working. I haven't watched my lighter. I swear, I've had that lighter for a long time. It was in that case we put all this time. The black one. I had that for like 3.5 weeks. I was just trying to tell Daddy I didn't. I only had a black one and this blue one and one before.
Tucker, you may recall that viral video from the January 6th riot showing that Capitol Hill police officer shoot and kill Air Force veteran Ashley Babbitt inside the Capitol. Well, now an internal investigation has reportedly exonerated the
Rider
officer.
crisis coming through. Oh my God.
They replied. They said that today. We'll tell you what they said, and we'll tell you why they might be saying that. Straight ahead. You know the name of the law enforcement officer who shot and killed Ashley Babbitt. We don't know whether it was the Capitol Hill police officer who left a loaded firearm in the men's room. We do know that Ashley Babbitt was unarmed and apparently not warned before she was shot to death on January 6th. But we have learned this. That officer faced no punishment. Fucking that thing has that story for us. Tucker, you may recall that viral video from the January 6th riot showing that Capitol Hill police officer shoot and kill Air Force veteran Ashley Babbitt inside the Capitol. Well, now an internal investigation has reportedly exonerated that officer. According to a memo obtained by NBC News, the Justice Department ruled the Capitol police officer was found not to have acted inappropriately and was cleared of any charges in the shooting death of Ashley Babbitt. The memo, which reportedly came from the commander of the Capitol Police Office, reads that no further action will be taken. Fox News reached out to the Capitol Police Office for comment. 35-year-old Babbitt was a President Trump supporter and was shot by a single bullet as she tried to enter through a door near the House chamber. Former President Trump demanded justice for Babbitt. The grieving mother of Babbitt says no current elected official reached out to any person regarding her daughter's death. Matt 10 course. Thank you. So, as a rule, federal law enforcement agencies like the FBI are not in the business of exonerating people. That is definitely not their job. Their job is to investigate crimes, gather evidence, and provide that evidence to prosecutors. That's what criminal justice system works. You are innocent until proven guilty. That's the whole point. So the FBI doesn't declare you innocent. That's the assumption we all get from the beginning. Matt 10 thanks so much, man. So, as a rule, federal law enforcement agencies like the FBI are not in the business of exonerating people. That is definitely not their job. Their job is to investigate crimes, gather evidence, and provide that evidence to prosecutors. That's how our criminal justice system works. You are innocent until proven guilty. That's the whole point. So the FBI doesn't declare you innocent. That's the assumption we all get from the beginning. The Constitution makes that very clear. Again, it's the whole point of our justice system. So it's worth paying attention when the FBI makes a point of exonerating large groups of people, no matter who those people are. And that happened today, when several FBI sources told lawyers that, in fact, January 6th was not an insurrection after all. According to Reuters, there weren't, quote, any charges alleging that any individual group played a central role in organizing or leading the riot. So there was no plan to overturn the election. There was no coordination at all. As one law enforcement source told Reuters, quote, 90 to 95% of these are one-off cases. Then you had 5% maybe of these militia groups that were more closely organized. But there was no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all of these people to storm the Capitol and take hostages. Therefore, don't expect any more charges for conspiracy or sedition or anything like that. Since when does the FBI go out of its way to leak information exonerating Ryan here? As a threshold matter, it's worth remembering what the FBI was claiming for the last 8 months. On January 30th of this year, the FBI planted this story in the Washington Post, one of many. Quote, FBI probe of U.S. Capitol riot finds evidence detailing coordination of an assault.
I'm putting it on pause for now.
Meanwhile, every national security expert, including the former FBI director, repeated that line verbatim on television for the entire year.
What we're learning about how the insurrection was planned and new warnings about the threat we still face. You really don't end up with a crowd of that size, of that direction, of that cohesiveness without a significant degree of pre-planning.
Every law enforcement leader has said that this was coordinated and planned.
All the witnesses agreed this was planned. This was a planned, coordinated attack.
These were not tourists. These were not misfits. This was an organized insurrection, and all the images that you're showing prove that.
There's no doubt there were at least some conspiracies, people wandering around exercising their First Amendment rights. Don't bring ropes and ladders and sledgehammers to a spontaneous event. This was a planned assault, as if going after a castle.
These people are so dishonest. What they don't want to admit is that the people who were there that day thought the election was stolen from them. Why did they think that? Because the way that we vote was changed at the last minute using COVID as a pretext, because the tech companies working at the behest of the Democratic National Committee shut down opposition online to the Democratic candidate. Is that a fair election? If that were happening in Hungary, would we say that's totally fine, that's cool, that's democracy? No. And every American knew that, and some of them were mad enough to go to Washington, and some misbehaved and broke the law. We're not defending that, but the idea that this was coordinated by white supremacists, no. It was Americans who believed in democracy until they saw it thwarted by the people you just saw on TV. So now the FBI admits there was no insurrection. Every normal person knew that at the time. Chewbacca guy wasn't leading a plot to overthrow the U.S. government. What a lie. So what is going on here? Well, keep in mind this. The FBI has never stated, publicly or otherwise, how many of its agents or proxies were involved that day. It's pretty clear if there was organization going on, some of it came from the feds. That's true. We were attacked for saying it, but it's true. Court filings from the DOJ show the government identified many alleged ringleaders of the insurrection, but weirdly, those people were never charged. Those ringleaders appear to have been working for the FBI. And there were a lot of them. In all, Revolver News has reported that there are, quote, upwards of 20 unindicted co-conspirators on the January 6th indictments, all playing various roles in the conspiracy who have not been charged for virtually the same activities, and in some cases, much, much more severe activities as those named alongside them in the indictments, end quote. That's not some whack job right-wing opinion. You can check the indictments for yourself if you want, and you should. So the question is, how many of those unindicted co-conspirators were working for the DOJ? That's a good question, one that nobody seems interested in answering. Dick Cheney's daughter's out there every day demanding that we have this investigation. Adam Kinzinger cried about it on TV, but they don't want to answer that question. Why is that exactly? Well,
I'm gonna recheck again. Hang on. Now you do or you don't want to have to sleep overnight? You don't want to have to sleep overnight? Thank you.
You might as well. What else are you going to be doing tonight? Nothing. Okay? You're going to be here till 2 in the afternoon tomorrow. Because his dad's got to work. Okay? I just set this all up, so I'm not going to tell him that he's not doing it now. I got to go get... You got to come with me. We got to go get your stuff. Okay? No. Yeah, like, give me like 5 minutes.
play that when it. So let's play Secret Base until 3 a.m. Wait, you want to play Secret Base when it's at least 12 o'clock? Like, you know, Tokyo, we can play Secret Base after 10 o'clock. For tonight.
My mom's like, what channel is this? She's watching. She was trying to search for it, but I was like, and she's like, well, not every time it's true on the internet. I'm like, it's the funniest channel. I think like when I showed her the grades and I thought she was just totally freaked out by it. She's like, that can't be real.
Oh, it ain't gonna take long.
Well, I already got my shoes on, so it's just that kind of
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Sorry that I did.
I don't know how you feel about it, but your daddy, that's what happens when you say yes and then he talks to somebody and you made the plans already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it that you just don't, are you not liking Jack today or something?
No. I did just change. I said yes because I wanted to do what Daddy didn't want to do, so I guess I had to do it.
And no one can make you stay up. You just, if you're really tired, you'll fall asleep.
I never tell him that. Should I just tell him next time?
Well, I mean, if you're so tired you can't stay awake.
If I like fall asleep and he just wakes me up, tells me I'm asleep. So I'm like, and then I tell him to stop, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I wake up in the morning, I go sleep and I like get frustrated. I can't sleep. He's staying on 2. I think he's staying on 2 until 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Do you care if me and Jack wake up 6 or 7 or something? Do you care?
I don't care.
Really?
I don't really want.
Not 5 or.
Probably not playing out Hero that early. Because you guys are kind of loud.
If it was like 10, we could, like at least like in the afternoon, we could play out here.
Well, 1, 10 o'clock is morning, and 2, you can play in the morning. I'm just saying not at 6 a.m. Don't.
I'm not.
If you guys are both out here at 6 a.m., it's gonna be very loud.
Yeah, we could play like, and also because isn't
like 7 or 8 or something.
Doesn't Dad have work tonight?
Yes.
I can't seem that the same.
Well,
now I'm
that's why you should have the sleepover, because
I'll have someone to play with me.
Yeah.
He's sad.
Why? Because you don't want.
Miss Daddy.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't it seem like feels like you barely get any time off, and it goes so fast.
Yeah, but don't worry. Maybe if I do wake up at 6, I would always say hi to Daddy.
Yeah.
I mean, when he gets home, he's awake for like an hour or something. He usually is up for a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes somewhere between an hour and 3 hours usually, maybe a little longer.
Or sometimes when he gets home from work, sometimes he does. I mean, sometimes he just does. Sometimes I think he just does stay up. Sometimes he does stay up.
I just said that, honey. Yeah.
He told me that he will stay up if he wants to, or if he just.
Yeah.
I think
none of those ringleaders will ever be charged.
I would say I know when he's gonna. I don't know when he's gonna have off. Hopefully,
I don't know, honey.
Probably Friday or Saturday or something.
Oh, that means if they were working for the FBI, if they were agents or informants, like the leaders of the plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan, for example, there's now a very good chance we will never know. Maybe that's the point. None of this means that none of those ringleaders will ever be charged. Oh, that means if they were working for the FBI, if they were agents insurrection. Every normal person knew that at the time. Chewbacca guy wasn't leading a plot to overthrow the U.S. government. What a lie. So what is going on here? Well, keep in mind this. The FBI has never stated, publicly or otherwise, how many of its agents or proxies were involved that day. It's pretty clear if there was organization going on, some of it came from the feds. That's true. We were attacked for saying it, but it's true. Court filings from the DOJ show the government identified many alleged ringleaders of the insurrection, but weirdly, those people were never charged. Those ringleaders appear to have been working for the FBI, and there were a lot of them. In all, Revolver News has reported that there are, quote, upwards. It was Americans who believed in democracy until they saw it thwarted by the people you just saw on TV. So now the FBI admits there was no insurrection. Every normal person knew that at the time. Chewbacca guy wasn't leading a plot to overthrow the U.S. government. What a lie. So what is going on here? Well, keep in mind this. The FBI has never stated, publicly or otherwise, how many of its agents or proxies were involved that day. It's pretty clear if there was organization going on, some of it came from the feds. That's true. We were attacked for saying it, but it's true. Court filings from the DOJ show the government identified many alleged ringleaders of the insurrection, but weirdly, those people were never charged. Those ringleaders appear to have been working for the FBI, and there were a lot of them. In all, Revolver News has reported that there are, quote, upwards of 20 unindicted co-conspirators on the January 6th indictments, all playing various roles in the conspiracy who have not been charged for virtually the same activities, and in some cases, much, much more severe activities as those named alongside them in the indictments, end quote. That's not some whack job right-wing opinion. You can check the indictments for yourself if you want, and you should. So the question is, how many of those unindicted co-conspirators were working for the DOJ? That's a good question, one that nobody seems interested in answering. Dick Cheney's daughter's out there every day demanding that we have this investigation. Adam Kinzinger cried about it on TV, but they don't want to answer that question. Why is that exactly? Well, today's announcement from the FBI guarantees that none of those ringleaders will ever be charged. Oh, that means if they were working for the FBI, if they were agents or informants, like the leaders of the plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan, for example, there's now a very good chance we will never know. Maybe that's the point. None of this means the DOJ is going to stop prosecuting political dissidents, however. They're full speed ahead on that. Just today, the DOJ, the Biden administration, announced it's charging a host at InfoWars, a man called Owen Schroyer, with several federal crimes, including, quote, entering a restricted area on January 6th. Well, that sounds bad. What did Owen Schroyer do? He didn't go inside the Capitol building on January 6th. He stood on the Capitol steps with hundreds of other people. He didn't even loot Macy's, like Black Lives Matter. He just stood there on the Capitol steps, a building he thought he owned as an American citizen. What's going on here exactly? Well, Owen Schroyer's real crime appeared to have occurred in December of 2019 when he shouted mean things to Jerry Nadler during a congressional hearing. The DOJ accused him of disorderly conduct and told him never to go near the Capitol again. You don't want to hurt Jerry Nadler's feelings. He disobeyed. Now he's going to jail on Monday. Are you cool with this, Dick Cheney's daughter? Is that all right with you? Is this the country you want to live in? How about that, Anna Kinzinger? Is this the democracy you fought for? Please. So the ringleaders of the riots go free, especially if they're working for the FBI, but the people who were defending Joe Biden's friends, they're in jail. One programming note tonight. Our Tucker Carlson Originals team has been looking into the events of January 6th very closely. We've been doing it for months. We plan to bring you that report. The video we've collected is shocking and informative. It's the next installment in our documentary series. It's coming next month. Well, it wasn't long ago that Jeff Bezos' newspaper was telling us that birds were racist. Now the experts are telling us toddlers can be white supremacists too. That's straight ahead. So for decades, cattle mutilations have been an obsession among crazy people. UFOs are mutilating cattle. Okay. Turns out there's actually some evidence of that. For real. Something weird is going on. The FBI has looked into it repeatedly because it is real. We took a closer look at it in our new long-form documentary series, Tucker Carlson Originals. Here's part of what we found. For For centuries around the world, farmers and ranchers have reported unexplained mutilation of livestock. Specific organs removed as if by a surgeon, with the meat left to rot. These aren't bear attacks, and they're surprisingly widespread. Since the 1970s, there have been at least 2 federal investigations into the mass killing of cattle. People staffed our producers to a cow carcass on his property.
The cow didn't have any predators touch it, which is unusual. We had other animals that had died that were within 2 days. There was nothing left except for just little fur.
One active-duty U.S. Navy pilot told us that he frequently sees UFOs while flying. Often, they're hovering over cattle.
It just died. There was, and all our investigation is, there's no rhyme or reason why it died so the way it did.
There are thousands of documented cases in the United States and other countries of cows being drained of their blood. One investigation found that anticoagulants of some kind had been injected into the animals. Who did this and why? No one has ever explained it. Livestock are expensive, so the FBI keeps record of unexplained killings of cattle. Over one 3-year period, 1,500 cows in 22 states were mutilated and drained of their blood. In many cases, body parts that had no commercial value were surgically removed and taken while the carcasses were left behind. No suspects have ever been arrested or even publicly identified.
Yeah, it's Satanists or some cult or something. Really? Which Satanists? Which cult? Not a single person has ever been busted for this. And it's been going on for hundreds of years. What is this? Anyway, we take a much closer look at it in a new episode of Tucker Carlson Originals called the UFO Files. You can stream it right now on FoxNation.com. Well, we told you that Bank of America has been turning over private customer data to the feds as part of its effort to defeat extremism. Now we're learning that Bank of America itself has extremist views. Bank of America is teaching its employees that toddlers can be racist. According to Bank of America, quote, toddlers develop racial biases by ages 3 to 5 and should be actively taught to recognize the smog of white privilege. And obviously, that's like the creepiest, scariest, most evil thing we've read today. Chris Rufo broke this story. Good for him. He joins us tonight. Chris, thanks so much for the reporting that you do. This is shocking. Bank of America is endorsing this?
Yeah, that's right. In their training program that they recommended employees take of over 21 days, it's really a race re-education program. Bank of America, which in its very name claims to represent the United States, denounces America as a white supremacist country and by extension expresses antipathy and even hatred to 70% of its citizens. But unfortunately, this is a pattern across many of our Fortune 100 companies. They've adopted programs that are indistinguishable from the most radical critical race theory courses in our elite universities.
What are they saying when, they're teaching people that white children are inherently evil and racist, and their employees just kind of sit there and nod? I mean, is anybody saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore? If you said this about any other group, it would be unacceptable. Why are you doing this? Has anyone fought back?
From the sources who leaked me this material, they fought back through me by sharing the documents with me so I could expose them to the public. But here's the thing. In corporate America, people are scared for their jobs. They're scared for their reputations. They're scared for their families. This is the new dominant ideology in workplaces and universities and K-12 schools. People are terrified to stand up because they see that Americans who do stand up for the very simple truth that we should all be treated equally, regardless of our skin color, are now treated as enemies of our largest institutions. They'll be held up for mockery, shame, humiliation, and it's up to us to stand up, to speak out, those of us who have a platform, who have power, because this ideology is seeping into our institutions and seeks to subvert and destroy the very foundational values and principles of this great country.
Yeah. I mean, we're turning into Rwanda. Tutsis, Hutus. This is really sick. And you've been brave and relentless in exposing it. I appreciate it. Chris Rufo, thank you.
Thank you.
So if there's a problem on the globe, for a fact climate change caused it, and you caused it, that would be hurricanes, wildfires, acne. Now we learn that climate change, your SUV, your wood stove, is the reason the Taliban just took over in Afghanistan. Sorry to laugh. Right now on TuckerCarlson.com, you can order a signed copy of The Long Slide. We invite you to. We'll be right back.
So if you're wondering why Afghanistan is falling apart and the Taliban now run it, you may think, well, it's Joe Biden's fault. Oh, no, says CBS News. It's not Joe Biden's fault. It's your fault because it's climate change. CBS is out with a new piece called Real quick, in the case of Afghanistan, they claim in the article that the last 3 decades of bad weather have damaged crops and harmed the Afghan people and made them ripe for the picking. Carter had won a second term. They're now going back in history and blaming Ronald Reagan for the alleged climate crisis. There's no end to which the media and academia will not defend progressives and Democrats in power using climate. I think if you tell people that men can get pregnant and have babies and don't allow them to disagree, you definitely strengthen the Taliban and radical movements globally. You want to destabilize the country? Tell them men can have babies. That's insane. Mark Ronald, it's great to see you tonight. Thank you, Tucker. That is it for us for tonight and for the week. A brand new episode of Tucker Carlson Originals is out on Fox Nation called The UFO Files. It's really good. But it's just the beginning. We are back Monday. We hope you have the best evening and the happiest weekend with the ones that you love.
Hi.
I'm really sorry.
Me too, buddy.
I know.
I hope that you're okay with...
I am. Now I just realized sleepovers are fun. Because it's just like, if nobody's around you, you can always just have a friend with you. No one's around.
Yeah, and if there's problems, you just gotta talk to me.
And it's like I'm not scared of anything, because if someone's by me.
Yeah.
Jack does like the Tokyo Jungle game. He likes it.
Yeah.
He likes being the robot dog.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you guys are joining me today in another BS story from our
You fucking Alvin! No! There's no need for that! Get off him! What the fuck? You need to talk to me! Nobody's touching me! You're not touching me! You're not touching me! Hey, you're not, nobody's touching me! Yeah. Let me pass. She's squinted. Hurry, squinted! Daniel, you're alright, it's alright. Daniel, it's okay. It's okay. No, really? Raven! Let her fucking pass! This is for eggs, this is for not isolating. This is for going to Turkey. It's alright. There we go.
Oh.
Okay, I'm back and I'm here. I didn't grab a Domino's. Yeah. Nice.
I don't know if you guys are hungry yet. I know that.
I'm not hungry.
You can have it later.
Yeah.
Really
Jack, are you thirsty?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, you want a soda or something?
Can I have a soda?
Yeah, as long as you keep it over here.
What kind of soda?
There's Mountain Dew,
Coke.
Mountain Dew, root beer, Dr. Pepper, and Sprite.
Which one?
There's Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, Sprite, and root beer.
So Dr. Pepper, Sprite, root beer, and Coke.
Yeah. That is not name brand. It's not Mountain Dew.
It's not like actual Mountain Dew.
Yep. Is this the real Mountain Dew or just the Mountain Dew?
Walmart brand.
And what's the normal?
The normal one is called Mountain Dew.
Nathan, how do I get to the broadcast?
What?
The broadcast.
You have to quit the game.
Like I have to close it and reopen it?
Probably. And then you won't, and then it'll stop broadcasting.
Let me manual save, okay?
Okay.
New
Later, when it's my turn later, I might play as the armored cool one.
Oh, you mean like the one with the blue thing?
Uh-huh. I like my favorite's probably that.
Why were you using this one?
Cause the blue one's kind of bad. Cause I can't when you go forward, when I play Fortnite every time, it always like stops moving.
Okay.
The blue controller is kind of doesn't really.
And whenever you
The
get
white
hungry,
controller
you can have pizza.